I woke up very unhappy. Dude, I'm very scared. Scared. I was scared. I did not have fun watching the movie. I'm just like panic. Goosebumps. Scared. I want to leave. I think in terms of scared, I was very scared. I'm scared.
I'm suited and booted. You want to know why?
Why?
Because this week, we standing on business. That's right, folks. The bad boys of horror are back for the 12th episode of 2 Men and a Baby.
Baker's Dozen, baby.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, no, Baker's Dozen's
crapola.
13, right? But this is just a regular dozen. This is a non-Baker's
It's
dozen.
unbaked.
It's a dirty dozen.
It's just a dough dozen.
Dirty Ronnie Rotten Rhymer. Impersonate you play is worse than Morty Schottenheimer.
Yeah, that's right. This trio is 2 Men and a Baby, the horror movie review show where three best friends discuss a new movie each episode. I am your host, William Dubbs. And as usual, I'm joined to my right by talented musician and equally talented horrorstorian, Brendan Fletcher.
Keep it sexy.
And to my left by comedian and titular baby, Abbie Krinsky.
And now I'm back to baby position. I thought I was gone, and this movie fucked me up.
This episode, we will be discussing 2024's terrifying presidential debate last night. No, Oddity, directed by Damian McCarthy and starring a lot of people with insane Irish names.
We got Ryan in the booth. Let's hit that theme song, baby.
Do it.
2 men and a baby, oh yeah. 2 men and a motherfucking baby.
All right, y'all. The way we typically kick the show off is we go around and each one of us gives a one sentence and one sentence only synopsis. So multiple synopses, each with our own quirks. And then afterwards, we, read you the official one so that everybody at least has an idea of what the movie is about, both in our own words and in Rotten Tomatoes. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because mine's really bad and short, and usually I do okay in these, and this one is not very good, but I'm going to try it.
Uh-oh. Brendan's down on himself today episode.
Yeah. It's just very to the point. Darcy, a blind antique store owner with psychic abilities, tries to uncover the mysterious death of her identical twin sister.
That's
it.
I mean, I feel like that's
Kind of a simple movie.
Sammy synopsis.
I mean, premise-wise, yeah.
All right, I'll go next. Oddity is Ireland's hot new commodity, and it comes in the form of a supernatural slasher with more jump scares than a haunted pogo stick, baby.
Damn. All right. I
feel good about that one.
That was good. It rhymed. Okay. Oddity, ghost schools and a scary house and then an even scarier doctor.
Right. That was tight.
Sort of an argument for doing your homework and preparing,
God.
which I didn't.
These are the worst kind. I'm going to read it in its totality, but it's way too long. When Danny is brutally murdered at the remote country house that she and her husband Ted are renovating, everyone suspects a patient from the local mental health institution where Ted is a doctor. However, soon after the tragic killing, the suspect is found dead. A year later, Danny's blind twin sister Darcy, a self-proclaimed psychic and collector of cursed items, pays an unexpected visit to Ted and his new girlfriend, Yana. Jesus Christ. We don't even need to do the episode.
This is a synopsis?
Yeah.
Convinced that there was more to her sister's murder than people know, Darcy has brought with her the most dangerous items from her cursed collection to help her exact revenge.
Damn, Cliff Notes.
Yeah,
All right, we can
you
go
didn't have
home.
to watch
That did the whole show.
All right,
dude.
thank you guys so much for joining us. Bye.
Yanni.
Who fucking
Her name's Yanni? Like the flautist?
Yana?
Okay, so let's talk about our experiences. This is a streamer.
Yeah,
it's
so-
not a classic. It doesn't fit into our classic category because it just came out this year, but we missed the theater viewing and we streamed it hard. Will supports directors, so he paid for it.
$7
A little
with
cut.
plus tax. Hold on. Can I say also that it was a limited release, so we didn't have a large window of time to go.
It's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I illegally streamed it from brawlflix.ru and sponsor us. And it's just going to backfire on us one day.
But I watched it last night in the dark, alone in my room with the volume cranked up. And
That is how to do it. Jesus Christ.
I will say, eventually, I had to eat and take a break, which disrupted the continuity. And also, Lisa came back in the room.
And then you guys made out.
Well, I kind of forgot how intense it can be when you watch like that. I really like it.
Alone is so scary.
Well, I also think the first half, this isn't really a spoiler, the first half was the scariest, in my opinion, because it was a little less is more.
Yeah.
And I was alone for all of that, and I was like, dude, I mean, I texted Abbie, I was like, I cannot wait for you to watch this shit.
And it's perfect transition. You affected me. So I had band practice, and then I was going to go watch it after, and I was trying to convince someone to watch it with me because I knew I couldn't watch it alone. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit on the bullet, and Will texted me like you were like, I feel like I'm scared again for the first time in a while. And I was like, fuck you, I'm not doing it. I went home and I smoked weed and I went to sleep. And then today I was like, shit, I gotta watch it during the day. So I convinced my friend Simone to watch with me because I couldn't watch it alone. And it was daytime, and I turned it on and I was like, I'm terrified, but I'm doing it for you guys. Like, you know how many times I wanted to turn my eyes away, and I was like, nope. Like you said in the text, Will, I Clockwork Orange myself. I flicked the pupils open and I said, I'm watching this. And then, but it was bright, so she helped. Like, we did a makeshift, covered the windows with cardboard.
Sick.
Around, and then there was one window left that I didn't have cardboard, so I taped a yoga mat across the window to cover it, and got dark enough to do it. And then I was like so proud of myself, and then immediately was like, why did I do this?
Yeah, why did you do that? You created like the most horrific.
Yeah.
No, but that's good.
I was like Joaquin Phoenix in the fucking in Signs, banging on
The nail.
banging.
I'm a little upset that you were getting paid salary to watch this while I was equally scared. I'm wearing a suit right now because I had to present to a boardroom of important people at a very large asset management firm, and
that's so
that was
cool,
scary.
dude.
But that's
Let's
why
talk a podcast about that.
Can we cut this out? Can we cut it out, dude?
So I was closing a deal that was really important.
No, but I
sick
was
deal.
trying to make the
As
point
my
that
boss
I
was
was
patting me
really
on my back, I realized, I gotta watch this.
But yeah, it was so scary once I made it dark. I jumped. I even paused it twice because I needed to take a breath. Kept going. I tried to get my cat to help me. He just immediately fell asleep. And then when I got scared, he got scared and ran away again. And so, all in all, I hate you guys and I hate this fucking concept again. And I did not have fun. Brendan, how was your viewing experience?
It was good. I was down the shore watching my niece, helping my sister watch my niece.
Cool. So you made a child watch a terrifying movie and
I
ruin their
forced her
life.
eyes open and the scariest parts. No, but when I had a little, basically a break, watched my niece, I scurried upstairs and I watched it on YouTube. And when I watch a movie on my computer, I like to really make a meal of it.
You eat the computer?
Well, I do a lot of pausing. I like to get my situations perfect. I like to get my atmosphere.
Candles lit.
Get the lotion, the Kleenex is on there.
Jergens. Yeah.
I'll be jerking with the Jergens. No, but I made a turkey sandwich. I tucked myself in to the tippy top of my neck, so I'm like in a coffin, and then just have enough room to reach my hand out and eat that Sammy.
Nice.
Wait, so did you guys watch it on a TV, not on your laptops, right? Both of you. TV,
as God intended.
Yeah, as God intended. But if you really put that laptop
fair.
close enough, that's a big screen,
that's
dude.
scary
That's a
as-
big screen TV.
The ratio of eyeball to width of screen. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
I'm making that screen so big I'm in the front row at
You're in
a
VR.
AMC.
You're pretty much watching it in VR.
Yeah. So I watched it. I really, I enjoyed the viewing experience. There was no one walking in. There was no people chewing too loud. It was just me, myself, and I,
stream all
as it will
alone.
be for the rest of my life.
All right.
So what did you guys
This
think?
movie was let's just be honest. No, I'm joking. I really enjoyed this movie.
Wow, you
In
did,
fact,
huh?
at the end, I wrote, "This is a horror movie you can bring home to your parents." This is something that I liked. I mean, it's there was nothing gratuitous about it. There really
true.
was no violence in the movie at all.
Yet it was horrific.
Yet it was low on violence.
There's some
there was
gore, for
no
sure.
like there's
Only
blood.
one instance.
But there's no you don't see
No,
the act
you're right,
leading
you're right.
up
Everything
to the
is
gore.
off screen.
Yeah,
Totally
everything's
right.
off screen except for
Totally
one
right.
scene. And there was no like, and then when I say bring your parents, you can watch it. There's no like sex scenes that you'd have to like get through with your
Finally.
parents. And the acting I thought was really good. I thought it was very nuanced, slow burn, and it reminded me of his first movie. And I think he's really established himself as like this auteur, and he makes really interesting stylistic choices. And I thought it was a really well paced film. He's an Irish filmmaker, so he had a lot of shorts that were on YouTube and stuff.
Like
A lot of which I've watched.
Okay. And they're all horror?
Yeah.
And they're good.
they're like 3 minutes to 7 minutes. Yeah.
And is this his first big feature?
His second. His first is Caveat, which came out in 2020, I want to say.
I saw you guys.
And that movie I thought was excellent. And when Dubs recommended this movie, I was very excited about it because I remember just kind of stumbling upon Caveat. And after watching it, I was like super impressed because I had literally no expectations going into it.
You told me to watch it, and
yeah. But what I like about these past 2 movies, it's like a murder mystery, like enshrouded in a horror movie. It's it really is like it's a mystery.
That's
with
well
horror elements.
one of my favorite things that I wrote down is that it's a paranormal horror film where the perpetrator has nothing to do with being paranormal. I think it was a slasher film with paranormal elements where usually you think that means the slasher themselves is a paranormal entity, and that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
What lies beneath? If you think of that movie, it's kind of like similar in that way, where it's there's like paranormal elements, but it's like it's a murder mystery crime story.
Also, we talk about this all the time. It was 1 hour and 38 minutes long.
We love it.
Perfect.
TMB loves that.
It was no extra meat.
No
on
meat.
them bones.
I mean,
No extra meat, but I made a meal of it,
Yeah,
dude. It
you
lasted me
perked it
4
up.
hours.
And
this
it's
movie.
still-
I was pausing, I was shitting, pissing, eating, saying what's up to my niece. We're doing dapping up.
Push-ups.
Also, when
Watch
you
little
think
baby
about,
Finn.
think about it, there's 2 locations really for the movie. 2.
Yeah.
It's so they were able to jam pack so much tension
Yeah.
and scares in such a short amount of time without it feeling like they were just trying to throw one after another after another. And
Yes.
they all felt earned, which I think is important.
What did you guys think about the square house? Would you live in a house
Yeah,
that
it's like
was
a little
rectangle?
quad area in the middle, right?
Because it's just basically 4 hallways stacked and 2 floors.
Also, the exterior was way bigger. Like there was 7
Yeah,
different.
they just utilized one living room
well,
area.
it was
and a
like the
bedroom.
vestibule
Yeah.
or whatever. But squares and rectangles were like a big thing in this movie. I don't know if you guys noticed the way.
Dude.
Flex facts.
We can talk about
The
shapes.
shapes
dude.
are
We be
huge.
talking
Ed
about
Sheeran.
shapes.
I didn't notice
So
that.
Abby, what did you think?
I saw the shapes. I've heard of squares. Wait, back to your. I opened up the squares. I saw the shapes.
Can't believe the shapes. Can't believe the shapes were in my movie. And I showed my niece. She said
Surrounded by
that's
so
a
much
shape.
talent.
All right, let's get out of here, dude. That was a good
All
episode.
right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I enjoy. Thanks for acting that out.
On the audio, yeah.
I would never especially because they're in Ireland, so it's like one thing to have a quad area that's outside in the middle of your house in like LA because you can use it most of the year.
What do you use a
Like,
quad for? Just parking?
No, I guess you
Tennis?
could, but
Ping
a
pong?
hammock. Tennis.
What do you use it for? Well, it's a square.
You want an open
You
thing.
could put a tennis court in
Yeah,
there.
it wasn't that big, was it?
What
It
is
was
what is
pretty
a
big.
quadrilateral?
Yeah, it's basically
What-
quad 4 corners, easy.
Quad goals.
Okay, the house was it's a weird shape. It'd be very hard to live in because you would be like, oh my god, my brother's like on the other. He's literally, I can see him through the window, but I got to walk all the way around this
The worst
thing.
part
or you
is
walk through
they-
the quad.
They also had to invest in renovating it. That was the whole. They bought
Yes.
it empty, barren.
I mean, that's actually my summation of the movie. Guy really cares about renovating his house.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole
More
plot of this
than
movie.
anything.
Okay, so I was terrified.
What if they made a movie called Quadzilla and there was a dinosaur that came into
those
quad?
really big quadriceps?
Yeah. All right, I'm sorry, Abby. How did you like the movie? What were your thoughts about it other than being scary? Like, what did you like
Honestly,
about it?
did
you like it?
Mostly was just that it was scary. I liked it. It was well done. It was. You sort of nailed it already. It's like good acting. Another example, guys. Guess what? You can make a good horror movie with good acting. It's not impossible. It was again like a perfect play of like supernatural, non-regular mystery. You're right. I mean, you sort of summed it up. It's really a mystery with horror throughout it. You know, I think I got to look through it, but like you guys lulled me like a good horror movie in the macro version of what we're doing here. You guys lulled me because the last few movies we've seen, some were bad, some were Alien Romulus was good, but like Creature, it wasn't like
Oh, this was one I knew was gonna.
I thought I was making fucking strides, and I got in there, and I was having feelings in my heart that were not healthy, and I was mad. I was covering my face, but not my eyes, because I had to make myself watch it. But I really did not enjoy 1 second of the experience. But like a roller coaster at the end, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really good, and I think we'll get into it. But I like this, like you said. I bet this was low budget, and it was really well done, because some movies are obviously low budget, and this was not obviously. Like, you have to actually understand a bit about filmmaking to zoom out after and be like, oh yeah, there were only a few things, and oh yeah, they didn't show any head getting slashed, just blood and guts, which blood. Like, that's not only a cool storytelling mechanism, but that's good for the art department and a lot cheaper, and no CGI, nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All in camera effects.
And I like that. I like that more.
Yeah.
I would. Like some of these movies with like the gratuitous CGI and like the long drawn out cutting scenes of heads falling off.
I also
explode.
hate like CGI ghosts or like why like that the Woody.
Yeah,
Right.
Dude.
Yeah.
How
And then-
creepy was that?
Exactly.
Thing?
We'll get to fucking Pinocchio ass over there. But like it was very obviously gothic, classic gothic vibes to it, and it got right into it, but without it didn't rush, because rush is not as scary. You want to lull people in, but it also didn't fucking take its time. It was like scary, jump scares galore, but none seemed that forced. Like, it just really did a good job, and I thought it didn't mount the landing quite as well as it could have, which is the only reason it's not like, holy shit, one of the best horror movies I've ever seen, but it was really damn good.
I have a Fletch fact about the ending from the director. I mean, you're not alone. I think this is the scariest movie I've seen in a while.
Oh, that makes me feel so much better. Okay.
In terms of just me being like, ooh, Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, it had Hereditary vibes to it for sure, of like those corners.
And I watching it, I knew that this was going to be the type of movie that scares you, Abbie. But B, I got to hear it from you, Brendan. But I also think that if you were to paint out the ideal Brendan horror movie, this kind of had a lot of the elements that you like.
Yeah.
And Caveat, I know you loved it. I thought that Caveat's low budget showed a lot more. I think this was better in every single regard, clearly by the same artist, but acting not as good. The
acting not as good in which one? This one?
No, in Caveat.
Oh,
Caveat.
yeah.
This was just better in every way to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
I just that's me,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
know
sure,
you
sure,
loved
sure.
it, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
imagine
yeah.
that you would have really.
This was a
liked
better
this.
movie than Caveat for sure.
Yeah. I thought Caveat was good, but it wears its budget. Like, you can really kind of, and some of the lines are really goofy, and like it feels like that. It's singular location, and not a lot of framed shots and still camera movement, and I don't know. It seeped through more in Caveat. In this, to your point, it probably was a very low budget, but it did everything really well. Yeah. So kind of preliminary, what we thought. We're going to try doing this in the reverse order to sort of give you an idea of not just what we thought about the movie, but what the critics thought. But we're going to play a little game with it that we call Rotten Estimato. Now, I will usually know the score of the movie, because A, I have no self-control, and B, I often kind of, choose the movies.
It's really A.
But Abbie and Brendan don't in some capacity. So, based on what they think, they're going to try to predict the audience and critic scores. Now, Brendan already knows the critic score. So, Abbie, you go first.
All right. So I think critics are going to be high on this. I think both are going to be high, because it was a good fucking movie, and it was artsy enough, and it's also like not a wide enough release that you're going to get the guys that were farting in the back of Alien Romulus going like, dude, who did that? You did that? So I think that I think it's going to be high, and like I said, I think it didn't quite land this amount. So I think it's the 80s. We're talking 80s. We're talking fucking Duran Duran. We're talking fucking
Hit me with the number, dude.
Running Up a Hill. That's 90s. But is that 90s? When did Running Up a Hill?
I think it's literally 89.
Okay. Someone fact check him on that. Fletch fact check
Hey,
him on
Ryan
that.
D, hit me with the fact check, please.
I'm in the booth.
So I'm going to say critics are in 85.
Okay.
So let's do that, and then we'll go to the audience.
The score is 96. Almost
Isn't that
perfect. But
Honestly, I hate that.
When you
don't
think
hate
about
that?
it,
I don't hate
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
it's
was
remember.
really
I think
good.
it's kind of high.
It is just the 100% of the dichotomy of positive and negative,
Yeah,
right?
right,
So
right. It's
it
binary.
kind of doesn't do anything crazy that
Right.
anybody's going to get upset
That's a
at.
good
Right,
point,
true,
right?
true,
So
true.
it's like
It's-
if everybody gives it an 80, it's going to be 100%
Yeah,
wrong.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or even if everybody gives it a 6.
It's so funny we're having this conversation for the first time right now.
Oh, I thought we talked about it in the first episode.
I don't listen.
Yeah.
Usually.
But yeah, it's short. It is objectively spooky, and it has a nice, crisp, clean plot.
Yeah,
and it kind
you're
of
right.
came out of nowhere for like,
Say clean.
you know, it was a Shudder release that went to theaters limited, and I don't think, you know, with it kind of got lost in the long legs marketing. But
My coworker Davon, shout out Davon, literally, I had a whole conversation with him about long legs, telling him to go see it, and we realized 10 minutes after he was thinking of Oddity the whole time.
Oh, really?
Because yeah, like similar, like in New York, especially where Oddity was out in theaters, it's like
Yeah.
similar vibes, murder, trying to solve murder, combined with horror, combined with some supernatural, like very similar. And I don't want to say I got to think more about long legs still. I don't want to just be like this was better than long legs, but it was as good easily and with so much less money, so much less
Better.
marketing, no big names, and it might have been better. And that's
somebody-
pretty amazing. That's
as
pretty
some-
fucking cool.
Was better.
I
as,
might have
yeah,
been.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
as
yeah.
somebody up to their ears
Yeah,
in horror
you are.
subreddits, that people were like, Oddity is what we wanted
Long legs
to
be.
feel from long legs because of that aggressive marketing of the scariest
Yeah,
movie
right,
ever.
right. Way more
And,
jump scares in this.
96 is one of
really
the
high.
highest ones we've had,
Yeah.
if not
Yeah.
the highest. I
Yeah.
can't remember. All right, boys, what do you guys think? The popcorn meter. By the way, new official name for the audience score is the popcorn meter.
Oh, the PM. I'm gonna guess that. I mean, it just can't be that high. That's
Rotten
too,
popcorn
that's-
native.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be closer. Like, it just can't be that high, but it's high. But I'm gonna say 89. Brendan, what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say 88.
Okay, stick with it.
So
It's probably lower than that. Actually, before I say that, 88 was going to be my score that I was going to give. So I'm jumping ahead here. So I was actually going to think, and because I knew it was 96 critic score, I was like, it's probably going to be in the 80s, but I don't think it's going to be as high as 88. Because for whatever reason, I don't know, whenever there's a high critic score...
People want a contrarian it?
Yeah, like whenever it's a high critic score for Rotten Tomatoes, it's
Yeah.
usually like a much lower.
I don't know what these
And then whenever it's a-
robots are talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
And then when it's like a lower critic score, it's usually a higher audience score.
Yeah, we're reactive.
So now
We're
I'm just
us
like
humans.
trying to play the. Now I'm just trying to like. I'm gonna say it's like 70. I'm gonna say 79.
Went nuts. Okay, 79.
I don't agree with that.
I'm saying no,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fair. And
yeah.
I said 89. What is it?
77.
Oh my
And,
God, these contrarian little fucking.
yeah,
we
Brendan-
love you.
Brendan
We love our
nailed it.
contrarian fans.
So if you ever want some really good literature, read these. They are some of the best stupidity that you can find anywhere
love
is
this.
the comments on Rottenness. So so many of them are just like, it was pretty good, but honestly not that, and it's like half a star. But this is the last time I saw a disaster this big was the 3.19 million barrels of oil that was spilled into the ocean back in 2010.
That's clever.
What?
Do you see what they did there?
Also, this is so dumb. It's like a student film, very amateurish and bad acting, not scary, just cringe. But yeah, there's one where this guy just gives it a good review and then one star.
Yeah.
A horror
I
movie
love that.
worse than Long Legs, an average plot with a few twists that will make you jump out of your seat a few times. But by the end, it's a movie that's scary mainly because the characters won't turn the lights on. Brilliant. This guy just solved horror.
Yeah. Also, like, that's not so wrong, but that's like a 3.5 star review, it sounds like.
Well, so many of these are just like, I don't know what people are talking about. It wasn't scary at all. And it was objectively, if you watch 100 of these movies trying to be scared, all using the same tricks, this one did the tricks better.
Also, jumping, zip zap, Professor Xing into my fellow babies' minds. Guys, it's okay that we were scared. And I know we all go to our defense mechanisms. I've lived my whole life like this, going, guys, that wasn't even good. That wasn't scary because it wasn't good. But guess what, guys? Sometimes it is good, and sometimes you got to suspend your disbelief and be scared.
we got to give Abbie a lot of credit because the difference is the people that are scared don't watch the movies. You watch the movies, and we appreciate that.
Only because I have to. But yeah.
Now, we asked this question. You asked this question, Brendan, on the very first episode. So now that I'm curious, I think you would consider this the scariest since Talk to Me, which you thought was. Are you? I think once you've watched it, are you like glad you saw it? Do you enjoy yourself at all?
It's roller coaster. It's really become, I'm realizing as we grow this project, like it's very one-to-one to roller coasters for me. I never am happy on the way up a roller coaster, never once. And I think even if I do 100 more, I'll be more open to knowing that I'll be happy later, but I think I'll still never be happy on the way up. And that's how I feel when these movies really start ramping up and get really scary. But I'm really glad I saw it. I mean, it made me think. You know what's funny is, and I gotta, again, like, decompress my thoughts a little clearer one day, but, like, talk to me, and this were two scariest. But When Evil Lurks, still, I think about it more than, like, any of them. That was so cool. And that's like, you know, to stay on that, that's like a crazy roller coaster. Like, that one went places, like, didn't have the biggest drop, but that went in some wild places. Yeah. But this and Talk to Me were just, like, classic King to Cause here. Like, I couldn't fucking breathe. Like, I was really scared.
See, I just thought it was like I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and there were moments that were definitely like jump scare. I was like, whoa, that like definitely gave me a chill. But I love this movie because it was just a good movie, and like the story was great, and the characters were rich, and like the conflict was great, and the dialogue I thought was great.
Unpredictable,
but like, to me, like, and I've talked about this before. Like, like a scary movie is not successful because based on how scary it is.
No, and that's true. No, and this is actually, I feel like that was a crass analogy because it's like King Kong famously is just a drop. This was not that. You're right. It was mostly good.
It was Medusa.
The key, there you go. It was, yeah, exactly. It was Dark Knight Rises.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, like, do you have the moment after that one scare where you're like, oh, that was kind of fun? You know, like on the roller coaster.
Not from a jump scare, not once.
To me, it's more like, you know, like I never want to work out. I never enjoy the workout itself, but I'm always glad. Well, back in my days, you know.
We're all ripped. Let's just move on, dude.
No, but it's a really good point. I don't feel it during it. I'm excited,
so you're not really enjoying it during the movie at all.
This was a mystery, which I love a mystery. So this had aspects of like a Knives Out or something like what's the solve gonna be, and a lot of horror movies do that. So for that sake, I also did have a good time when it was plot-wise, but when it came to dark thing, her looking in the fucking corner, her in a tent, like someone behind the door, like, no, I'm not having fun, and that hasn't changed. And
what I like about this director is that even like in a short films, what I want to maybe touch on a little later, but like he builds up to that jump scare really well. Like he creates that mood and that like pulling of the tension, and then he just he breaks it in a way that like is the most effective, makes that jump scare the most effective it can be. And even though there's only a handful, like in Caveat, there's like one or two, but the one or two in Caveat are like, there's one of the scariest like scenes in Caveat like that I've ever seen. And it's just the way that he creates the atmosphere to allow that jump scare to really pop off the page.
And he does both types of jump. I mean, there's many, but he does both the kind where it's like big jump scare, then you cut to something totally different, and like that's a way out of jump scares that some movies do. But then he also does, we'll get to it, the jump scare like where the sister says something that's a jump scare, and then the scene continues to play out. And I was like, oh, that's a cool spin on it too. It's like the jump scare was in the middle of the scene. It didn't end the scene fully. Yeah. Or maybe it's towards the end. But he's just good filmmaking, man. Good Irish filmmaking.
Yeah.
So let's just skip to the end of what we call Baby in the Corner, since we've discussed how scary the movie is. Abbie is our baby, our resident baby, and also the human barometer and scorer of exactly how scary the movie is for listeners. What is your Binkymeter score?
So like I said, I'm a specific kind of baby. There's all types of us around town. But for me, this is right up the alley, or the opposite, down the alley of things I don't want to watch. In a house, dark, humans. I'm scared of fucking humans and supernatural versions of humans. I don't give a fuck about a little creature thing, unless it's a roach in my house. But scary. I mean, I got to remember what I gave Talk to Me. I don't remember. But I'm definitely breaking the nines on this. And I'm going to say this is a 9.2. I think I might look back and think it should be higher. I'm like, I don't know what bar I'm setting it. Probably the scariest movie I've ever seen is Hereditary, and this had moments.
You watched it in the comfort of your own home with somebody else. I can't even imagine. Yeah. Well, that's sort of the beginning half, guys. But now, We're going to step foot into the spoiler room where we talk about the movie in complete detail. Anything is on the table. We're going to cover some Fletch facts, some Scream themes, and, all of us come with notes. We'll talk about those things that we think need to be discussed. The plot was pretty short and straightforward. I don't think we need to necessarily get through it. It hit a lot of unexpected beats that were pretty cool. I think it's probably more fun to talk about certain elements of the movie that we really liked. And again, those Fletch facts and Scream themes across the movie. Brendan, I already know you have a lot of things. I'd like to hear what you thought about the framing and the shapes, because that's like the first thing I wrote down in my notes.
Because I'm a big fan of his first movie, McCarthy's first movie, Caveat, I noticed a lot of themes and symbols and filming techniques that he used in Caveat in Oddity, and it made me kind of want to see his those short films that he did, 5, 6, 7, 8 years before Caveat, his first movie. Those of you who haven't seen Caveat, Jonathan French is the main character in that movie. He was also in this movie playing Declan, the guy who's tracing all those pictures in the insane asylum and eventually sees...
Has a heart attack.
He plays Isaac in Caveat. He's playing Declan. And I actually almost wanted him to have the same name in this movie because you could almost see that character in Caveat winding up.
It's the McCarthy cinematic universe also.
Yeah. So he really has built this world. Like that bunny, the bunny toy with the symbols in when she goes to the trunk, she's getting the trunk.
That was a bad bunny, dude.
So that bunny's it has a drum in Caveat, and that bunny is used to kind of detect paranormal activity, I guess.
Just to specify for Abbie, what Brendan is saying in the shop of oddities, in the back room where the trunk is sitting, there is a shrine of several objects.
Yeah.
And eventually, and it's right in the middle, but eventually he gives special attention to most of them.
And it actually bangs.
Yeah, because she opens the trunk and that detects paranormal activity. So there's something if you're a fan
am I supposed
of
to
that.
know that?
No, you would have to see Caveat.
Yeah,
it was
yes, it's the same.
So it is a cinematic universe.
Yeah, exactly. But the bunny is different in Caveat. It's playing a drum to symbol, and this one has symbols. But
that's a symbol.
Yeah, it's honestly a symbol.
It
was just a shout out to his own shit.
But
also,
ask,
so real quick, just as a horror zoom out horror thing. So Caveat sounds like it did it. Are there any? It made me think holy shit, this could be the basis of It's a basis of a million shows. Will have things like the Rick and Morty, Futurama. I've played with this, but is there a famous movie about cursed objects? Sorry, that's too vague. Talk to me, is that? But
Annabelle.
Annabelle.
Okay, what about a store? Is there one that really takes place at a store? That
Mr. Emporium's Magic Emporium.
Exactly.
I don't know what the fuck. What is the name of that movie?
Cursed items or something.
Well, Annabelle and The Conjuring and those movies have all those. Remember, they walk into that room and it's filled with cursed items.
They have.
Okay, sorry.
So the family.
Yeah, the family, the couple that does paranormal investigation, they go into their house and they have a room that's locked.
They keep all the haunted items.
Yeah,
so that's the plot.
And that's where Annabelle was.
It's just a side little.
Annabelle's in the same universe as The Conjuring.
Yeah. It's the same couple. They're a real couple in real life. These couple that would go around to haunted locations and do paranormal readings. They were paranormal investigators.
And are those movies good?
The Conjuring 1 and
awesome.
2 are incredible.
So we should do it. Don't tell me. Okay.
Also, not going to be fun for you.
I fucking know. And we're going to have to see Babadook later. I'm so mad about this upcoming season.
Okay, I want to hear about...
Not only that, so you continue with the movie and you see, in the house, there are these ink blot paintings or whatever, ink blot framed pieces of art.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Each one of them is a rabbit.
Rorschach?
It's
Rorschach.
It was Rorschach.
Yeah. Each one is a rabbit. I mean, obviously you can interpret.
I agree with that.
If you pause
I thought they were my parents.
Somebody needs to get Brendan checked out because he got bunnies on the brain.
Well, obviously, just go back, pause it, and you'll see what I mean. And also,
hanging out with Willow too much. This guy wants some rabbit stew.
True that. Bad bunny. So basically, this dude loves holes, dude. This guy loves
holes. Oh,
openings.
God.
He loves little like
He
just
loves that Shia LaBeouf Disney classic.
Yeah, he loves holes. Great movie, digging holes. But again, caveat. There's like this scene where the Isaac is looking through a hole and he sees like the woman killed. Right. In his if you look his past short films. This short film called Hungry Hickory. There's a small door at the end of the bed, and the end of it, like this thing pops out of it. The 5 minutes she's constantly focused on this small door. Obviously, in caveat, there's that again the small hole. They look into the secret passage in the back, this back room. Oddity, the peephole in the door, like the Olin's character is talking with her through that peephole, and then also that passageway that he opens up to kill Darcy's character with the phone.
And then
that was the first thing you see in the movie is her assembling that hole. Oh,
that's
I mean he does good.
No, the hole, like the trap door.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
There's
and also
a lot
like
of
the holes in the wooden head.
Oh, the bowling head.
Yeah. And then also like there's another movie called How Olin Lost His Eye, and there was a short film about like Olin as a child. And he's looking through a peephole, and it's a dilapidated building.
The MXU, dude.
Yeah. And then there's another short film called Never Open It, and this dude is like a security guard in this dilapidated building, and he hears like knocking, and then he finds the secret passage with a box in the secret passage, and there's a peephole in that box, and he's looking at it. He loves like
Dude, the
Holy
Fletch
moly.
facts.
Yeah.
Fletch facts OD today, dude.
Yeah, it's like really crazy. It's like a cool. He like latched onto this like this one like device, storytelling device, and I think it really works in all these movies. But
it's also like squares and rectangles. Also, he very few pans and very few zooms. It's framing. A lot of
100%.
the storytelling is framed. Even The Office, it's only ever like two perspectives in The Office.
Yeah.
It's only a few in
And it's interesting because holes are common. And
it's another frame.
Right, but also to your point is like, yes, the bowling ball head guy, like those are some but mostly when you think of a lot of horror holes, they're circles, peepholes. This was
Squares and rectangles. Even
you're
though,
right.
I mean, it's not subtle, but the square within the square, or the picture within the picture.
Frame
within frame.
The camera as a device to scare
The
people.
hole.
The time lapse.
God, dude, these holes are getting me
But-
bothered.
So I'm going to skip to something at the end, which also has a lot to do with framing. So this guy charges objects. He charges the hole. He charges the camera. He charges the bell. Obviously, you're like, when is the bell going to come back? But when at the very end, we're waiting for this bell and this payoff, and you kind of know what's going to happen. But the final shot is a wide frame of the bellboy, the evil, being enacted. This guy getting his comeuppance. But the bellboy is kind of just standing there. So he said the first
Grand Budapest Hotel ass.
The first cut of the movie was supposed to be the quintessential kind of annoying one final and
I thought he was gonna smash his head.
well, just really close face-to-face scream, scare, shriek that you see in so many of these movies that want that one final scare. Now, the guy
this is going to be so interesting because you could go so many ways with this.
So the guy that is in the bellboy costume, what he's wearing involve contacts that he can't see out of. So he's waiting for his cue with the frame, and when they shoot that, they look back at it and they look back at the
real scare that they planned on doing.
and he's like, this is funnier.
Like,
he
he's
said
confused,
that. He
the
literally was like,
actor.
I think this. Well, yeah, the actor was just standing there waiting.
Yeah.
And he said the way it framed with him just there, he thought it was, quote, funnier. And
what was the original supposed to look like?
face to face,
really close up,
that really shrill scream.
sound.
And this was just
essentially being a sure thing
see.
because this was not sure what's going to happen. He's probably going to kill him. That
He
close up
says-
is pretty obvious that he's going to kill
the
him.
director is like, no, absolutely.
But
You're
doesn't
supposed
Darcy
to
say
think-
he's supposed to like when
He's
when
running
he drink,
at you.
he's
I know,
running
exactly.
at you?
Yeah. So, well, either way, Darcy
switched
also
them?
says nobody's ever survived. So the director also did say, like,
Well, he might
Darcy
not
also
survive.
couldn't sense a fucking hole in the ground, so you know.
well, it is confirmed by McCarthy
Yeah.
that means
you were
he's
gonna die.
he's dying.
Yeah.
It's just he really liked the ending of it not being so in your face and it just being there and him kind of being a goofy.
So what did you guys think? Because all right, I'll say what I thought. my first thought is like they really take their time, and I'm like, the bellboy better fucking come. We all want this. This is a classic horror. Like, get us back to it. I thought it was cool what he did, but especially as you tell the story, it was a little too silly for me for a movie that the tone wasn't silly. And then looking way back, I wouldn't want this as a fan, but from a storytelling unique point of view, I think it would have been cool if nothing came. Like, I thought that was a powerful
I thought that
ending,
too, yeah.
because it's like, this is, because my overall Scream theme, one of the Scream themes in here is like, it's a classic story of like, yes, supernatural exists in this world. It's like all, like, psychic
they've already
abilities, all
established it.
this exists. And guess what? It's still just an evil, cocky white dude with money
Being right.
that is the bad guy.
He gets
and like,
away.
I love that story, and I love that they still told it great. But I almost would have been cooler if he just got away with it.
So I think he made you wait long enough where
you
you
get to
never
have that
even
thought.
considered that was a possibility.
Right, until he
and
makes
you're
you
like,
wait.
oh shit, is he just gonna get? And that's why he liked it better, a little bit better with the less aggressive ending. But I mean, once you see the package, you're like, I know what that's gonna be.
It was great.
Yeah.
That was cool.
But I think that they wanted you to worry, but still give you some payoff, especially because she didn't get her revenge while she was still alive.
Yeah, that dude needed his comeuppance, dude.
Right. No, he
in that
needed it,
movie.
but that's almost like, but I still, like you just said, the director himself said it was funnier. Okay, why do we want a funny ending?
See, I think it would be- I think it- yeah.
he's not saying it's funny.
No,
You
I
still
know.
think it's
I
scary.
know.
Yeah, it is. It is like chilling a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was creepy, and I think
creepy.
it accomplished its goal. You get some satisfaction that for a moment you're afraid is never going to come.
Yeah. I think it would have been cool if they ended it without, like, ended it with him looking around, like, and just keep looking, or like,
Right,
it
'cause
keeps
that's
kind
what-
of like in a Violent Nature.
Yeah, they
like
draw it out.
They draw it out,
No,
and she's looking into the woods, like, is there something
Yeah,
there?
that's-
Where you take this guy who's like this medical doctor who is, doesn't believe in ghosts, doesn't believe in the paranormal, like, is completely skeptical and shit like that, and he knows that this bell, if I ring it, nothing's gonna happen. To have his face, like, look worried about this thing that apparently he knows doesn't exist is coming for him. Like, having ending on that note would be kind of like,
I agree.
Yeah,
I
like,
think that's
ooh.
another cool way to do it. It's like,
Yeah, because maybe he
worry
comes, maybe he
is-
doesn't come, but he's
Actually,
been dropped
and
down.
that would have been cooler too,
Yeah.
because she says later, like, your death is too like when she was trying to get her revenge on him by getting him caught, Darcy, she doesn't want him to just die. So then it's ironic that is actually what happens. But still, I mean, it is a comeuppance for sure. But
yeah.
I think that's, I mean, we can move on
It
from the
would
ending,
be
but it was
it would
it's a
be
good change.
certainly a ballsier ending. I guarantee that would have dropped the audience score
Yeah.
30%
Yeah.
if they made that change.
Yeah. That's true. You gotta.
To her point, though, she had one line that I was like, that's badass. She said, I am a danger to Ivan. If you're going to send anyone, send him.
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
She had a lot of great
She's
lines.
standing on business.
She was good. And let's talk about that blind acting, dude.
Yeah.
Blind
Oh,
acting.
man.
That's
Yeah.
hard.
It's
Just
like
that
She
somebody-
shut
stare.
her eyes a lot at home.
She did
Well,
not
she's
blink.
a method actress, so she would just poke
Her
herself.
acid in her eyes.
No, she would ask Damien to give her a couple of little pokes.
Yeah,
And,
Justice is blind, dude.
She
if you
did-
think about
well,
Blind
that,
Justice.
She had the greatest line where she was like, when she was talking to the girlfriend, and she was like, I don't know if you look stupid, but you sound stupid.
Oh,
That
yes.
was so good. Yeah.
Well, also in a horror movie, you see one of the characters is blind. You're like, oh, this is a perfect setup for us being scared on her behalf. You were never scared for her, ever.
No. And
she
so-
was the Caesar of control and power.
100%. So I wanted to say that. That's like a big, again, I don't know if this is a screen theme or just thought, but one of the really cool things that this movie did was the first scene with the door and the guy behind it. That is one of the best horror scenes I've seen in a long time.
the opening.
Yeah.
Unfucking
It's
believable.
awesome.
Because, so usually, I wrote this down, like, usually the classic horror trope is you're like, get out of the house, or go into the house, get out of the woods. And this was the first time that it's like, we played every perspective. You're like, oh, fuck, don't open the thing. Then she opens the thing. You're like, oh, God, there's a guy there. Don't let him in. Then you're like, do let him in. Then he's
Yeah.
like, no, I'll call the cops. And you're like, don't let. Like,
yeah, it was like
and
Among Us.
It
It was like, is this guy telling the truth? Is there actually someone in here? Like, is he evil? Yeah.
brilliant.
Well, it was
Like,
the Thing kind of dilemma of
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
what
right.
are we?
Yeah.
Where do we put ourselves? And also, all of the murders happening off screen, they cut to the Oddity title card, which again, I know we said Longlegs was like the best opening to title card. This one might have been better.
No.
but they don't show the thing, and you don't actually know for a few minutes whether she died, he died.
Right.
If somebody came in, went
Right,
out,
we
whatever.
just know there's a Jabberwocky in the house, and and
Oh, well, that's way later. Actually, we find out
what
about
we
the
see.
Jabberwocky.
Yeah, you're right.
That was a creepy mask.
That was very creepy.
That was the.
It was
in my
creepy,
opinion,
except I was waiting for him to do a little cool backflip dance.
that was
Yeah.
the 1-2
Pop, lock, and
punch of
drop
the
it.
jump scare of it. Him on camera to outside of the tent was so good.
That was so good.
That
and
was
that was
the
the
best.
first
Yeah.
time they showed what they did many times again, which makes this movie unique. We're gonna not show the fucking shit.
Yeah, true.
Like we all have. I was talking to Lou about this. Like, love action movies. We're more into the corny, like the Marvel shit too. But it's just like at this point, I just have fighting fatigue. Like, I don't care how great a set piece is. Like, I've seen The Raid and I've seen the John Wicks, and I don't need all these fighting scenes. And I get bored. I actually fall asleep now during the set pieces a lot of times in these action
Now I'm a
movies.
gore hound.
Oh, sure, fine. But I'm just saying, this is another example of like how it's like you just let the storytelling, let our imaginations take over. You don't need to show us everything. That tent kill was so cool. And then it's sort of like the Jabberwocky killer is both terrifying, and now we know the main bad guy, but also then sitting with a bit of like remorse on the floor next to the tent after it's all bloody. That's how I took it, at least. I mean, you're not seeing their facial expressions, but I just thought that was such a fucking cool.
I have like a desire to be disturbed in some capacity. So a lot of that is bloodlust and like gore is an easy way for a movie to do that. But if they do it the other way, which is just make me uncomfortable
Right.
and scared, then I don't care about the.
Yeah.
That's why there are some truly terrifying, amazing PG-13 horror movies that we talked about Signs creeping us out when we were little. Absolutely
I mean,
nothing
this wasn't
violent
too
in that.
far from being able to be PG-13. Like, I'm
Yeah.
glad it wasn't.
No, it was
but
just
besides
cursing.
showing that head, like
Her
like,
bleeding
all
from
fucked
her
out.
head
Yeah.
and cursing.
No, I meant that when they showed that one-eyed guy, like that was the most gore. I feel like.
Well,
they
the
showed.
bite,
They showed his
the
head.
And the
gore,
toe
yeah.
bite.
The
The
toe
toe
bite was the only actual like act of
Oh
violence.
yeah, that was
in
that.
the
That
whole-
was the when Tarantino made his guest directorial scene.
Yeah, I was wondering. I mean, the guy really charges items, and he showed the toe. He showed
So
the
many
toe,
times, we
and
all
I'm
knew.
like, "That's a gross
Yeah.
toe. What's gonna happen to the toe?" And as soon as that guy comes in, you're like, "Dinner time."
Exactly. And then before that, it's like we see the one-eyed guy's like, oh, his skull bursted on the floor, and it's just like that was nasty. But yeah, it was funny. The halfway house that was the other scene. The halfway house, the other
other
location
set, I guess,
Yeah,
location,
and
yeah.
that was like really interesting because it was so creepy. I was thinking at first, I was like, if these guys don't die from the demons, they're gonna die from the asbestos on all this fucking chip paint, dude. I was like, I gotta call Brendan and see how many building codes are being violated.
I just couldn't believe he was like such a serious PA, like or MD, like serious, and then that's where you go to work. Like, come on,
I
dude.
knew that guy was.
Yeah, that was-
I knew he was. He did it.
That's
dude.
another reason.
Like 20 minutes in.
It was
Yeah.
still
Always
a
the
good,
hubby.
It was still a good movie, but that was another reason it's not like top level is because there wasn't a twist.
There
on
wasn't
that.
enough
We
bait and
all thought it
switch.
was going to
Yeah.
be Ted, and it was fucking Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the like
always
using
Ted,
Ivan,
dude.
What I
Using
what I
Ivan,
like,
that was cool.
They subverted expectations, even if the murder mystery wasn't that twisty and turny. They subverted expectations a lot of different ways. And it's crazy because they would charge an item, set up a jump scare, but still come in a way that was like,
Yeah, it still worked.
it's like, how did you still get me?
Ivan, it was definitely a big twist that I would leave the movie feeling bad for Ivan because it felt like he was like the most evil fucking.
Yeah, I
person
like the
in
scene where he's
world.
like, "You called a priest," because remember he talks about his time
Right,
hating
right.
in the Catholic school growing up. So you know, like
Exactly.
something happened with him between him and a
And
priest.
then we find out that,
yeah. it's
But my
interesting.
favorite
good
subverted,
writing, really good writing.
my favorite subverted expectation, I guess, is all the setup for haunting. And we have a medium in the blind sister, and the Yana, the girlfriend, is seeing the dead wife. So you think, and it's just like a person killed her under extreme narcissism.
I mean, he
and-
said, like, again, what makes this movie go back on the other side to just great is privileged white dude, when asking why he couldn't just divorce her
Tell
and
her.
kill her, he just goes, she'd never get over me.
Yeah, she's loved me
oh
too
my
much.
I know,
God,
so dick.
dude. And then he wanted the house. It's so good. There's
Yeah,
just,
this was the easy way
But
out.
I think the divorce and like he might lose it because they
Yeah,
find
no,
out
he loves
he's
the
being
house, but-
extramarital relationships.
but
he
let's
could
be
lose
honest,
it.
he's just a little baby boy. He's
I know.
just
Yeah,
scared.
yeah. Just be a grown up, dude.
Like if he created a situation where he's gonna pin it on this other guy already, why did he even get another person to do it?
I know.
I guess alibi.
Wait. Actually,
would
so I
have
wanted to
an
ask
alibi?
about this. He knew the one-eyed guy was listening, or did that just fall into his lap?
No, he didn't know anything.
So how was he? He was
No,
going to frame
that
it on
was
that
the-
guy either way.
Yeah, because he was just discharged.
And it's just a coincidence that he heard it happen
He was
to be there.
going.
And he's also
going to
committed
be
murder
dis-
already.
No,
that
I'm
guy.
saying
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying pretty much Ted's plan became 10 times better
Well, he was
by
getting-
accident
yes.
because the guy that he was going to frame showed up at the house.
Yeah, they were
He
just-
didn't expect that guy to be there. He was still going to blame him. But now the one-eyed guy actually showed up at the house randomly. That's wild.
Well, wasn't he going over there to kill her?
No, the
And
one-eyed
he
guy,
showed up, so the guy saw.
Hold on, you say let's
Olin.
specify the people.
Yeah,
So
Olin, the one, and Ivan. Ivan, the
Olin has
orderly.
one eye, right.
Ivan, the orderly, goes over to kill her. Right.
to kill-
She sneaks in the house.
He
Olin
sneaks.
sees Ivan sneaking
Right.
into the house.
But
Right.
And tries to
Olin-
warn her, and
Right.
that's
that's
Yeah,
what I'm
tries to
saying.
warn her.
Right.
So Ivan now knows Olin is outside.
No, I understand. What
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
is that Ted's plan
Yeah.
was to frame Olin the whole time. Olin,
No, I don't
Yeah,
think it was.
I think it was.
I think Olin became
the plan
the
second.
plane second.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I think-
secondarily.
but they
yeah,
knew
yeah.
he was going to be discharged.
Right.
Olin, and he's a murderer. So I think they sent Ivan to do the kill and whatever. They were going to blame Olin. Hey, where's Olin? We let him go.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I think he
it
just
is-
hired this guy who was a hitman. I think people hire hitmen to kill.
Well, no, we
also,
all
wives.
agree. We
nobody-
all know
yeah.
that he hired.
Yeah,
him.
but I think Olin became a good.
Right. So do you think
like,
you think that if
murder
Olin
butt.
wasn't there,
No, I
that
think-
what he would have just?
Well, I don't. I had
No,
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 idea,
it
but
definitely- it
that would be
definitely-
an insane thing to predict.
That's what I'm
before.
saying.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
So now I remember they were like, ask the detective all the evidence that they have. Olin,
Right.
like he had prepared this.
But it
for
might have been
Olin.
that it fell into his lap.
Yeah,
And
that's
maybe-
what
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I don't think he knew that Olin was there.
Right,
The doctor
okay.
never even found that out. It just he happened to set up the first scene, and for it to be scary, we have Olin coming to warn her that somebody's in the house already. We don't even necessarily know that Ivan knew. I guess it would be hard for him not to notice.
I mean, they're having a
but
conversation like.
it was always
he even says, maybe I was loud enough to scare him off.
Yeah,
like,
Ivan's in the corner like, who the
No,
fuck
but
is that, bro?
Yeah,
They-
yeah.
they do refer to some sort of evidence for Olin being the
Right.
perpetrator.
Well,
Right, and
once
I
he's
actually
there.
thought that maybe he's in with the detective as well. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
don't-
I thought I got that
yeah.
feeling too. But also, so like, let's get to that. Actually, that's a good transition. So the one other thing that I had a bit of a trouble with was Darcy confronts him, right? So she knows it's him. She confronts him. She knows he is a killer. She knows he's hired someone to kill, and then she sort of lays in the corner and then falls for the trap like very directly. And I thought that was a little bit interesting. Like, I'm not saying she's blind. I know that. And she didn't know there was a hole there. Why would she assume there was
Yeah,
a hole
right,
there?
right.
But what did she think? She thought she was going to pick up the phone and he was going to be confessing or giving her the number to the. Like, I didn't get. It felt like she had so much planned out
Also-
until. I guess she had her boy there.
When I saw him
She had Pinocchio.
move the thing, I'm like, there's no way she didn't hear
Yeah,
that. With
and also,
them,
Right?
with
as a
them
blind
daredevil
hearing,
senses,
yeah.
you know.
As a blind person, you're probably like all the possible scenarios. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. I don't know. Like walking an inch. There
Running.
could be
Why
a
would you
billion
run?
things that could
Yeah.
happen. You know. I got.
Yeah, that was weird. Okay, so that's a flaw, but that's okay.
I mean, I also think that you're like, there's no way she's gonna fall into that, and she does. So that was
She
kinda-
fell right into it.
the wooden guy.
Dude,
so there's
Pinocchio, whoa, that was
Pinocchio, whoa,
wild.
dude. So there's also
With a
two
bowling ball head.
good jump scares at the expense of Yana. One in the hallway of the dead wife, and then one from the camera, and then so her in the tent,
Yeah, the bedroom one was
and
the
then
scariest. I
her
thought.
her in the corner.
Yeah, in the corner of the bedroom.
That was me in the
that
spotlight,
shit was
losing my
nuts.
religion.
So I think the tent jump scare at the beginning was my favorite one, but then we have a few with the wooden guy changing positions, right? Just changing him looking
up
up.
and her dropping the phone. That
Yeah.
was so good.
But I think my favorite was, we already know now she's controlling the wooden guy, and it's he's now moving across the room. But when Ivan is staring him down and he finally just moves his head up and looks at him, not really a jump scare, but a genuinely
Yeah.
eerie. You're like,
Just a
oh,
scare.
you're fucked now,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
And it's the only time you see him move in real time
Yeah.
versus off screen.
Yeah,
Stop
but you're
motion.
expecting it the whole.
You're
Yeah.
expecting
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's still.
It didn't really scare me that part.
Well, I think it was.
It was cool. I liked
was
it.
a
I'm
very
glad
nice,
that they did it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little.
I thought in the
heebie-jeebies
room
for
when
ya.
when the camera flash goes off and Danny's in the corner and she's get out of
Yeah.
here. I was like, ooh, me likey that
Yeah.
mucho.
That was- and that was another
oh,
those they kept showing the square, like the sharp edges of that corner over and over and over, and you're like, what's going to be in that corner? And then it was funny that corner isn't what ultimately fucked the girlfriend. It came back much later. I love the flash, the way they use the camera.
I just realized I have my rental for 48 hours. I might force Lisa to watch it
again.
watch it
I
tonight.
would rather be stabbed.
So
also, and then one more jump scare real quick was like when she's fucking when the girlfriend Ivana or whatever, it's like reaching through the little fucking crevices and they're pulling out the blood and the hair and the notes and the pictures, and that was great. And she's got the tongs, and then the jump scare was just Darcy going, "Put them back." I Hank Hill like moaned at that. I went, "Whoa!" Like I dropped the notepad I was using, and I just Hank Hill screamed at it. It was
Yeah, that was
at that point, Lisa was back in the room and she had AirPods on, but it was so loud that it just made her laugh because she had seen absolutely zero of the movie up to that point. And she's like,
and that was what I was talking about
like,
before.
okay,
in the intro.
girl.
What was cool about that was that was a jump scare that wasn't the end of the scene. Like it was sort of like kept going. So I thought,
and then she
was
just
cool.
puts him back. Like
Yeah.
I will say that so Scream themes. There's nothing too sophisticated here, in my opinion. I don't think there's really detailed analysis that needs to come from this. I just think that there should be justice for the white male narcissism and just death to ego. And just like the satisfaction that comes from showing a really, really diabolical person that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Like that. If we get political,
That's
like
true. That's true.
if you could get,
That's a good defense at the end. That's about
yeah. Well, we're all like liberals, and like no matter what you tell a person, if you throw literally academic articles in front of somebody, they're not going to change their mind if they've made it up. But if
But
you
if
could,
a bellboy shows up,
if
and
you could do that at the expense of just like full blown revenge, how good that must feel.
And so the last thing I want to say, because we got to get to the end, but the last thing I want to say that is a cool thing that this did that I can't recall many things doing like this is, like you said, so Darcy's part of the supernatural. She's our connection to the supernatural, and she becomes our favorite character, sort of like the protagonist. And it's cool to be in the house later half of the movie, especially when Ivan's running from Pinocchio, to be like, I'm rooting for the ghouls. I'm over here, and I'm rooting for the ghouls.
Woody was a good
to
guy.
still be scary. So that was like really cool because
that is cool.
It fucked with my head a little bit because it's like usually I'm scared because the ghouls are out to get me. Now I'm with the ghouls, but somehow I'm still scared.
You
like
want
why
the
am I
ghoul to
still
kill,
scared?
but-
Right, but I'm still scared of the ghoul. I don't understand.
It's like
it.
Haunting of Hill House when they all the ghouls are a part of. At one point, we're part of the
Could
family.
we cover that if it's on a movie? I love that
What is
show.
that? It's a book?
Haunting of Hill House is
'Cause I'm not reading.
Mike
No, it's a TV
Flanagan.
show.
Mike
Yeah.
Flanagan, who is one of the modern horror, like just the dude.
Oh, and it's a show.
Yeah, he does movies
Yeah,
and
it's
shows.
great.
And
Awesome.
Haunting of Hill House is probably his most complete.
The
TV.
music in this movie was great too.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Oh, other thing is even Yana had a redemptive arc in the same in the way she's like, no, you're fucking
Yeah, you're
crazy.
crazy.
Why are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
still there? You fuck. And that was satisfying also.
So true. All right, let's wrap this bad
All
boy
right,
up.
let's do this.
Let's wrap this up like a little wooden Pinocchio head.
We got 10 minutes left on the meter.
Abby, you just nailed it. So I'll say that I give this 8.4 out of 10 Woodies.
Oh, would he? He did. Okay, I am going to give this movie 8.4 little bowling ball heads that I want to reach
Wait,
in and
8.4 is low, I feel like.
That's the same score I just gave.
Yeah, I think both of you are, the number's low for both, I think.
Well, I think that I gave it a 9.2 scary, and
Yeah.
it's more scary than it was perfect. But
Yeah,
it was really good.
yeah.
I think
8.4 is pretty
We have to
fucking
start
high.
like printing out what our past
yeah, we
scores
say
are.
this
'cause I
every
have
single
no
episode.
idea what
Well, we're waiting
where
for
I
one
stand.
goddamn fan.
Like
Well,
long
can I-
legs, I don't even know. I think 8.2 I say every time.
Well, here's why, Brendan. Here's why I'm going to give it an 8.4 out
Yeah.
of 10 and not a higher score is because I love them Scream themes. I love those great horror movies. You know this as good as
Yeah.
anybody. There is some parable, metaphor. What's the other word for it?
Paretophore. Marable.
Symbolism.
Parabolics.
But yeah, there's usually a deeper meaning intertwined, and this one didn't have too much of it outside of, just don't be a cocky dick.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I'm moving up.
Bam, that's called peer pressure, bitch.
8.5, little bowling ball heads with a little picture of me and my twin in the corner, and then tied up with a little bit of hair and a little bit of blood and a little bit of fucking boop, boop, bop, boop, boop.
Actually, now I'm thinking about it. I gave Alien a 9, and that really didn't have any themes whatsoever.
Alien's gonna age worse. I feel strongly.
My rationale
You're
last
obsessed.
episode was just how much fun I had, and I had a lot of fun in this
Don't
movie.
question your fun, Brendan. What are you gonna
8.4
give
is
it?
great. I'm gonna give it an 8.7.
Okay, Mac 11's about 8.
We got 3/10
Really
of a
liked it.
difference here. That
Yeah.
All right.
I love you guys so much.
Yeah,
That's all
It's wild how much.
I really
just want to stick my 3 fingers in your 5 little bowling ball heads and just wiggle them around.
All right, let's get the hell out of here, dude.
Love
I
you
got
guys.
10 minutes on the meter.
2 men and a baby.